just the frames. Got keys to kingdom, unlocking chains. Sober the podcast, open up your brains. Sober the podcast, let's get it, man.
Welcome back to another episode of Sober the Podcast with your host, Bradley Saxon, and Mr. CJ Carlton.
Yo, what's up, baby?
Yes, sir. Welcome to the lab.
Yo.
It's good to be back. And today we got a pretty special show for you. When we began this journey into this season, when Clifton jumped on with us, we talked a lot about how mine and his paths met, pretty detailed.
Yeah.
But we just sort of vaguely talked about how mine and your paths met. And so that's what we're going to do. Yeah, talk a little bit about, how I got where I got, and then how eventually our paths cross and how we're doing what we're doing today. Because I know a lot of people, when they think of CJ, they think of Bradley, think of CJ. They see, what the Lord is doing, but they don't really know the particulars.
Nah, they don't.
They don't know the details. They don't know the tears cried, the pain, the times that we've just grinded behind the scenes that's really afforded us this opportunity. So,
let's dig in. Yeah. Well, too, I think it's important, especially on today, August 21st, that tomorrow, August 22nd, is your 19 years.
19
so congratulations.
Years. Thank you, sir.
God willing, we'll get to celebrate that tomorrow.
God willing.
Yeah.
The creek don't rise.
Yeah, the creek don't rise, baby. So let's start this episode off the same way we do all of them. Let's do the three-pointer.
Okay.
We never really get to do it.
So I'm on the other side of it this time.
Yeah, man, because we're always hosting, so let's have some fun. And
all right.
Let's start off with a three-pointer, and just like any other time, let's start it with a 3-pack of songs.
Okay.
I know you're a big song guy, big rap guy, so let's start there. And I might try to stump you with this first one, so just be ready.
I mean, you may get me.
All right, here we go.
Yes, indeed. It's the Mix King, Ron G. I got something the world ain't ready for. New York City, LA, Chicago.
Bro, I don't got nothing.
Okay, here we go. Hold on.
Fuck who did I offend? Rappers.
I gotta hear the voice. I don't know the beat. I don't know the song yet.
I'll give you a hint. It's one of the first guys. You were like, bro, you don't know who this is. Yeah, that's how you be doing me all the time, bro. You don't know who this is. And this was one of the first guys you introduced me to that I didn't know who it was.
Just let me hear first.
All right.
Hey, yo, you better flee hops or get your head flown 3 blocks. L keep rappers hearts pumping like
bro, I don't recall that voice.
Big L.
Big L.
Yeah. All right, so let's get to.
Yeah, you got me on that one. It's been a long time
since
I listened to Big L,
I knew
bro.
it was. Yep. I knew
Big
it. All right.
L, man.
All right, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm 0 for 1.
It's okay.
I'm 0 for 1.
It's all right. Let's go. Let's see here.
All you hip-hop heads, I have failed you.
Here we go. I got you on this one. All right. I'll give you an easy one.
Give me a bang, banger. Pop.
Hey.
Yeah,
right.
we got him in the lab with us today.
Yes,
you don't
sir.
wanna with me.
All right, here you go. I'll give you
got
another
the
one.
police chasing after me.
All right, here we go.
Oh, that's 50 Cent in the game.
Hey,
how we do it.
two-piece,
Yeah,
yes,
that's
sir.
no trouble there.
All right, here we go. Here's the last one. Let me see here. Let me give you a good one. Here we go. Let's see.
Oh, God, that's West Coast for sure. Hold on.
Nah.
Oh, no, that's Zappin' Roger. The sound you hear.
Sound.
Hold on.
You'll know as soon as he starts rapping.
Sounds like Ice Cube. Oh, Biggie. Biggie Smalls.
Hey!
Biggie Smalls.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, classic.
Yeah.
But that did sound like a little Zappin' Roger.
It was.
It was?
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Right.
So I can take home some merchandise?
Well, I'm just saying, if we was playing, you get some merch, bro, and you went 3 for 4. So if we're playing
3
baseball,
for 4. That's what, 750?
I'm just saying, if we're playing baseball, you in the league, bro.
Oh yeah, bro.
Yeah,
all
you in the
day,
league.
day.
Let me give you your
in the
phone back
league.
before I get on that Facebook.
Yeah, that's okay. I got a lock on that for people like you.
Yes, sir. So let's dig into it, man. This is really exciting to me because we're sitting in a room right now that has taken a lot of work. It's taken It's taking God. It's taking discipline. It's taking commitment. It's taking a vision, man. And we're getting to sit in it and enjoy it right now. So I just like to soak that up.
Yeah, for sure.
I like to start this episode off by just telling you thank you for all you've done for me, and all the opportunities that your life and your discipline has afforded my life. And our stories are really just a product of one alcoholic helping another.
Yeah.
And so we like to keep it real simple like that, because that's what we do here at the Bridge Center. And I'm just thankful that you helped me whenever I showed up in your life, man. And so, but I want this to be a lot more about you and your story. And then if we get to where those paths mingle, that's wonderful, man. So
Yeah.
I just tell the audience, you know, what this journey, what it looked like for you growing up, because that's where we always start.
Yeah.
So like, what did your childhood look like?
You know, to be honest, from my perspective,
Yeah.
Especially before I ever got introduced to God and what perfection looks like,
Yeah.
would say that I had the best parents in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, because here's the truth, man. Regardless when it comes to kids, how dysfunctional your family is, it's very hard for you to view people, or it's hard for you to view your mom and dad the way other people do through their
Right.
failures.
Right.
Because parents often, for kids, can do no wrong.
Right.
You know, and so the truth is, man, is I had, in my mind, the best mom and dad.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as I've gotten older, I talk about the specifics, the dysfunction, the things that really shaped me that I didn't know that was shaping me, not for the purpose of saying that I felt like my mom and dad were bad people.
Right.
I share that to bring hope and to win confidence of people that I know what they've been through.
Mm-hmm.
But from this perspective, man, like I felt like my mom and dad walked on water.
Yeah.
And I know today they did the absolute best that they could with what they were given.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the truth is, man, is when, you know, I got a little older, like I started seeing things that, you know, really did something to me.
Yeah.
You know, things that I feel no child maybe should have to see, that should have to go through,
Yeah.
that would create this problem I would end up having with fear
Yeah.
and insecurity and, you know, passivity. You know, just, you know, not really wanting to talk about it, suppressing it, hoping time would change it.
Yeah.
Because I was non-confrontational because of all the confrontation I seen that
Yeah.
made me feel some type of way. So when I would get into that situation,
Yeah.
fear would grip me.
Yeah. Didn't like
You know?
the way it made you feel.
No, I
Yeah.
hate
Yeah.
until today, and still to this day, man. There's times where I have to be intentional on waging war on passivity.
Yeah.
You know, because it's almost like you don't talk about it, you don't address it, it ain't really real.
Yeah.
That ain't the case.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I think that's something that all of us deal with too, man. I really do. I think that's pretty much a theme that runs through most of our lives, man.
Yeah.
Just not willing to confront. But we also don't know until you know that, like, that's half of what the Holy Spirit does.
Oh, it is.
That's, you know, like his job is to confront our dysfunction, and it's to comfort us
yeah. Well,
in the confrontation.
well, I think it's the greatest. It is love.
Yeah.
Like, because that's who God is.
Yeah.
He can't help but to be who he is,
Yeah.
you know? But you know, dude, my dad worked most of my life that I can
Yeah.
remember. My mom didn't because she stayed at home and took care of me.
Yeah.
And I had an older sister, Candy, which the listeners have heard
Yep.
that story in depth or
Yep.
her last story. But the truth is, you know, while she seems to want to, it's funny because it seems like the roles have changed now. She feels like she looks up to me, but majority of my life, I looked up to her.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know, she was the best thing since sliced bread, you know? But she's 10 years older than me.
Yeah.
You know, and so we had times together growing up, but, you know, by the time I was, you know, 8, I mean, she's already making moves. She moved
Yeah.
out at 18,
Yeah,
you know,
she-
so,
yeah.
you know, our paths went in different directions, you know?
I've never really thought about it, to be honest with you. I guess just being in such close quarters with you over these last several years of my life, man, that in my mind I always just thought like there was a couple of y'all in the house. But from what you're saying, like she's gone at age 8. Like, you're pretty much an only child at
Well,
that
I'm
point.
8 and she's 18, but
Yeah.
she moves out and gets pregnant with Trey
Right.
after
Yeah.
high school.
Yeah.
So from the age of 8 until, I mean, literally I go to detox and get sober. Like, it's just me,
It's just you.
my dad, my mom.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But, you know, some funny stories is you know, I mean, this is censored for sure. I hope my mom ain't listening to this.
We love you.
We love you, but,
Glenda.
But you got to think, man. I mean, I didn't know all this, but like, my dad was taking my mom to meet Candy's daddy in jail. Like, not to meet him, but to go see him.
Right. Visit.
Yeah. Yeah, but somewhere in that process, I came in.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you feel what I'm saying, like,
Yeah.
and I remember overhearing that Candy's daddy Ricky wanted to kill my daddy, but the thing is my daddy had an older brother. His name was Big Randy, and I never got to meet him because when he died, I was probably about 6 months old.
Mm-hmm.
He hit a tree on Murray Avenue, coming off Second. All been doing cocaine and passed out, hit a tree, and him and his friends instantly died. But he told Ricky, if you mess with Charles, which is my dad, I'll kill you.
Yeah.
And, dude, the only memories I have of Ricky is he would come see Candy and play baseball with me.
Yeah.
But you talking 6 years old, innocent, thankful for this man pitching the ball to me.
Yeah.
And I have no clue
Who he is.
this story.
Yeah.
You know,
But
it's like, man, I'm thankful he comes like every other weekend, and I
Yeah.
know he's going to pitch the ball to me.
Yeah.
You know, but now that it's hindsight, I'm looking back on this story, I'm just like, I mean, dang.
The innocence of a
Dang,
child, though,
Daddy.
man. Yeah.
Dang, Daddy.
Yeah, I know.
What you doing, cuz?
Yeah, I know.
You know?
I know it, man.
But my mom's still living in the same house I grew up in, man. My dad and her built it a year before I was born in 1982. She was pregnant with me, and they built it in 82 and lived there a year while she was pregnant. And I was born August 4th, 83, and my mom still lives in that same house. Mm-hmm. But let me tell you the greatest memories that I had in that house, man, because it's, you know, I found as an adult, since my dad's been past a decade, I find for the first couple years I had a very hard time going in there. Mm-hmm. I still have a little hard time talking about it just because, I mean, what kid doesn't want their daddy, you know? And I had a hard time going in there because just, you know, everything about the place just rang Charles, you know?
Yeah.
And I could only imagine what my mom had to go through, but, you know, I can remember as a little boy, like my mom picking me up out of the bed. Yeah. Like literally coming in, picking me up before school, taking me to the couch, taking a towel, putting it in front of the TV. Back then, the TV sat on the ground. Like you had to turn the TV by the channels. The channels looked like almost a washing machine on the TVs in the 80s. Like you had to turn them on.
I don't know nothing about that.
So she would put this towel in front of the TV. She'd fix me a bowl of Fruit Loops. Mm-hmm. And we had what they call VHS back then, VCR. And while I was at school, she would record the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, G.I. Joe, and Thundercats.
Yeah.
And so every morning she'd pick me up, put me on the couch, put this towel down, make me this bowl of cereal, put in the VHS tape, and she'd take a warm rag. And I'm saying this because this is what a mother does.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that I had the best mother in the world who I had no idea was shaping me to be mannerable, shaping me to be a nurturer, you know, shaping me to understand a mother's love for a son. And, dude, she did it every day. She'd go and sit at the bus stop with me, tell me she loved me, how good looking I was, get on the bus, you know, and that was some of the greatest memories that I had growing up in that house of a mother who truly loved their son and was really, I mean, dude, she was, I don't know, man, like she was just the MVP in my eyes, you know. And I just, you know, man, as an older guy, man, I go up there, man, it's real weird.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it other
Yeah.
than the whole time I'm up there, I'm either going through pictures and looking and reminiscing of those times, or I'm walking through the house finding myself standing in a spot for 5 minutes thinking about all the memories, you know, that I had there, you know.
Well, I mean, I've been around you long enough now, man, that I can tell. I can tell it's a thing when you go there.
Oh yeah.
You know, but like from what you're saying, man, like you really got that acceptance from the relationship you had with your mom.
Oh man.
And I'm sure with Charles too, because I mean, for the listener, as the story unfolds, you know, you're older when Charles passes away. You know,
I was actually already 10 years sober when my dad passed.
yeah, so you got to enjoy that. But so like you're going to school, mom's, you know, doing mom things, and it's funny how we take that for granted growing up because we just think that's what mom does. No, that's what mom chooses to do.
Yeah, no. I mean,
because now I'm daddy, and like I gotta choose like every day. Like I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna do it because this is what God gifted me to do.
Well, and you know, man, here's some of the things, dude. My dad worked, and you know, he rarely got up in the morning with us,
Yeah.
which is fine because my mom didn't wake him up. She shut the door, let him sleep. He's got to get up after you know, because we're getting up early because I'm riding the bus.
Yeah.
So let dad sleep. Mom's taking care of,
Yep.
I feel like, what mother's duties are.
That's right.
And, you know, I don't know, man. It was a time that really, you know, bonded my mother and I.
Yeah.
But it also, and you got to think, man, in our life, my mother was also the disciplinary.
Yeah.
Which I don't know is the most accurate thing in a house. But my mama was the one that would beat the brakes off me. My daddy wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But my mother would. And I think it's because of her choice of investing and making me to be somebody better than she want, you know, better than maybe they had it or they turned out, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But, you know, dude, I'm 41 years old, still talking about how my mother instilled these things in me as a little boy.
Do you think that the lack of discipline from Charles, because it's opposite for me, like my dad was the disciplinarian.
Sure.
So like the lack of discipline from Charles was simply a lack of discipline from his father or too much discipline from his father?
I think his dad was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And never was home.
Yeah.
And he seen him beat his own mom.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you gotta think, man. My dad told me stories where him and Gail, which is Kenny's mama, would wake up on the same mattress. It'd be so cold after he peed in the bed, they'd be stuck together.
Yeah.
You know, and dad coming home alcoholic, hitting his mom. Like, I think it was because my dad never really was given that kind of environment to understand the need for discipline.
Yeah.
The need for, you know, confronting dysfunction.
Yeah.
He was very passive too.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I remember the last few years his mom was alive. Like, he never went to see her. It ain't because he didn't love her. I know he loved her.
Yeah.
But, dude, I'm so much like him when it comes to those things that we would just rather avoid it to not feel it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of what he did for me was just what wasn't done for him.
Yeah.
And I think he just tried his best to maybe make up for mistakes he had made.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, I just, you know, I was always his only boy, and you know, I think he wanted me to like him. You know, and you know, as I got older, once we get there, man, I used all that against him.
For sure.
Like, he was really setting me up with an arsenal that we both didn't know at the time, but as I got older, because I sort of knew what he would do and wouldn't do, I was able to really just use that against.
Well, and
use that against.
I think that's a great place to make a point, because if we as parents, us being parents now, want our kids to be our friends and we don't want our kids to be our children, then we're not willing to put boundaries in place or put lines, not in the sand, lines in the concrete that, like, hey, if this line is crossed, there's consequences, and we're not willing to move those. Why? Because I need my kid to need me, which then puts your kid in the category of a friend. And then what you're saying is the kid learns this. It's learned over the course of time that
there's no doubt.
even if they say it, they're not going to uphold it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's a dangerous place to be, because sooner or later your kid is going to get smart enough, and their character will have developed enough to be able to start using your defects against you. So I just think it's super imperative as a parent to be, first of all, strong in the Lord and yourself, because that's where it has to start.
That's the deal.
You know,
which was never really the case for at least my dad.
Yeah.
You know, my mother's mother, Ruth,
Yeah.
died when I was young.
Yeah.
But she was real strong in the Lord. And I felt like my mom had 7 brothers and 2 sisters.
Yeah.
They come from a big family.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of discipline in that family.
Yeah.
Which is why my mother was the way she was.
Yeah.
But you could tell that my dad did whatever he wanted to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was, you know, that was who he was.
Yeah.
And so how many conversations that I don't know of that my mom and dad had based on the way that they're raising me.
Yeah.
Because I could imagine they clashed because one felt this way, one felt that way.
Yep. Oh, I'm sure.
Couldn't you imagine?
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
But like, you know, as we continue down this road, like, you don't start drinking and using at 8 years old.
no, listen.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, here's where I look back and realize, like, those stories I tell you are starting to shape me.
Yeah.
Right? These are the things prior to drinking and using that's creating the problem within me that's going to eventually create emotional problems that I suppress.
Yeah.
That when I find alcohol and drugs, it's so impressionable on my life because of the relief it gives me from the trauma that I can't talk to nobody about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I remember as far back as when my mom would, because see, the bus wouldn't pick me up in front of my house. For some reason, I don't know why, but she'd have to drive me 4 houses down.
Yeah.
Sit at another house in the driveway and wait on the bus, right?
Yeah.
And I can remember like it was yesterday, she had went to Walmart and got me a 100% cotton jersey jockey jumpsuit. It's like jogging pants and a sweatshirt.
jacket.
Hunter green, cuz.
Oh, yeah, you was popping, son.
I had a mullet.
Yeah. Popping,
100%. She curled the mullet.
Popping, son.
And I had these navy blue Cougars.
Yeah, you did.
Strap. Velcro strap.
So hunter green suit, navy blue shoes.
But here's the thing. I felt like I was popping, son.
A beast.
Like you're making a joke about it. Like I'm walking out this house thinking I am fresh to death.
Yeah.
Until I got on the bus.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody had Bugle Boys.
Yeah.
Blue jeans.
Yeah.
And their check wasn't upside down.
Mm-hmm.
They had them Reebok pumps with the basketball on the tongue.
Yep.
And I can remember instantly that confidence going right out the window and fear gripping me.
Yeah. Do you remember if it was because they said something, or is it because of what you saw?
No, it's the comparison I instantly had on matching what they looked like compared to how I felt.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have to teach me that, bro. I was born with it, and my environment shaped it to the point that even as a 7 and 8 year old getting on the bus, I instantly knew or felt we wasn't the same.
Yeah.
But here's the good news about this. My sister rode the bus. She was 10 years older than me, so I couldn't wait to get back to the back to sit with the older people that Mike could sort of make
Protect
up
you.
for the lack or make me fit in.
Yeah.
And so that day, I guess I was sick or I sneezed or, you know, I don't know exactly. But my dad always taught me that when you sneeze, cover your mouth.
Yeah.
But he also told me that if you sneezed and maybe you had a bad sneeze and snot came out, just rub it on your pants. Keep it moving.
Yeah.
Well, what he failed to tell me is that if you rub snot on 100% cotton jockey sweatpants, that it doesn't go away. And dude, it began to stick. And then I started trying to rub it on my shirt and it stuck. And here I am in the back of this bus with all these older kids and I can't hide it and I've got snot all over me. And instantly that fear came right back up. And I thought to myself, if there was a hole to jump in,
Yep.
I'm dead serious.
I know.
If there's a way to stop this bus, let me off right here, I would have did it.
Yep. I know.
And I could imagine in that moment, it wasn't about anything other than what they're thinking about me.
Yeah.
And how they're viewing me. And dude, these were situations that sent me messages about me.
Yeah.
In that moment, it was no big deal, but in my mind, because of the enemy already starting to choreograph my flesh, this simple situation started sending me messages like, "You're not cool.
Yeah.
See, you're not like them.
Yeah.
You're not any good." And it's amazing how you agree with those thoughts, you begin to believe them.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And that starts to make you feel insecure. And that's really where the enemy really started to create character defects in my life and start to change the way that I thought about God and people and myself.
Yeah.
Because I would view these situations through filters of fear, and I would hear things that ain't really being said and see things that ain't really being done. And, you know, that's just one experience.
Yeah.
As a young boy that I remember feeling like, now looking back, I could have used some alcohol. I didn't know that then.
Yeah.
But I can tell you at eight, I could have used a shot of Jim
On
Beam.
the bus.
100.
Yes.
In that moment, had you have gave me a shot of Jim Beam,
Drank it.
nothing would have mattered.
Yep.
I would have been like, man, this is it.
Yeah. And bump them.
And bump them.
Yeah. For sure.
You know what I'm saying? But
For sure.
could you imagine the attempts now to be people, to be like other people, to find ways to fit in because of how much of a turd in a punch bowl that I felt like I was, and how I became a chameleon, and how I had no truth in my life. I had nothing to stand for. You know, was it Aaron Tippin that said, "You gotta stand for something"?
It's Aaron Tippin, baby, from Traveler's Rest.
Is that Aaron Tippin?
Yes, sir.
You gotta stand for something.
If it ain't,
you know
then-
you'll fall for anything.
And if it ain't, it's okay, because we
You
don't need
gotta
them to like
be
us
your
no more.
own man.
Not a puppet on
Yeah,
a
that's
string.
him. So I wasn't able to do that
Yeah.
because I didn't really like who I was.
Yeah.
So I always tried to get around people to be like them in hopes that they would love me.
So you was trying to match your insides to what their outsides look like.
Yeah.
Right.
And so here's the truth. I didn't go to an environment at home where I felt like I could talk about these things.
Right.
I don't feel like.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Mom, I feel insecure.
Yeah.
You know, like, we didn't talk about
Yeah.
feelings. We didn't
Yeah.
talk about those problems.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
just wasn't the environment.
Yeah.
And maybe just because my parents had never talked about their dysfunction.
Yeah.
Which in the next 5 years would surface to a level that I never could have imagined.
Yeah.
You know what
Where
I'm
it couldn't
saying?
be hidden.
Or, you
Yeah.
couldn't hide it no
Yeah.
more. They did a great job. I mean, I always say that I thought that marijuana was the actual air freshener that we used around my house. Like,
Yeah.
I always had this stench around my house, and I always wondered what the smell was, and I just thought maybe that's the air freshener.
Like Kush is my cologne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it really wasn't. It
Yeah.
was the fact that my dad and his buddies are smoking weed around the house. And, you know, I didn't ever know what that was until
Yeah.
I got older,
Yeah.
you know. And see, you could hide that for a while as I'm a young kid that don't really know nothing.
Yep.
But as I get older, bro, and you're letting me stay at my grandmother's and my Aunt
Yep.
Gil's with my older cousins, and they start introducing me to things at 11 and 12 I never should have been introduced
Yep.
to, it's hard to hide that from
Yep.
somebody now. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. And I know I got it at home, and I got to figure out how to get it.
Well, and as I got older, and I think they started to realize that there were things they couldn't do around me.
Yeah.
Like, I can remember them having New Year's Eve parties, and I would be home, and they would just make me stay in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Well, you talking hearing loud music, you know, blaring.
Yeah.
And I'm in my room, and I'm so stricken with fear to go to the bathroom, to use the bathroom because
Yeah.
I'm scared my mama's going to catch me
Yeah.
and jack me slam up to the ceiling. That I would sit in my bed, freaking
Hurting.
hurt.
Yeah. I know, dude.
You know what I'm saying? And those are times where, as my sister got older and she left, that's when I wish she would have been there
Yeah.
to help walk me there.
Advocate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so she could take the blow.
Did you really feel like when she left that you kind of lost that? Mm-hmm. Like you lost that advocate or that, I guess, i.e. protector?
Well, because she felt the same way I felt.
Right.
And she sympathized with how I felt.
Yeah.
But other than talking to her, once she moved out, and that's why she moved out.
Yeah.
It was just me. Mm-hmm. And this is why I was always willing to go to my grandmother's or take me to Gail's to hang out with Kenny Wayne and Jamie
Yeah.
and Lil Randy because I didn't want to be in that situation. Well, let me tell you what that did.
Yeah.
So as I got older and they realized they can't keep me there because they don't want to expose me to things that now that I'm older I might understand, I start getting sent to Kenny, Wayne, and Jamie's.
Yeah.
Well, here's the problem. When they were young, their dad died. Their dad was the foundation of the family.
Yeah.
He's the disciplinary. Like, he made sure that they did what they had to do.
Yeah.
Well, when he died, my aunt, Gail, dealt with it through going to bars.
Yeah.
Now, she loves Jesus. But this is her story back in 1993.
Yeah.
Ish, 92, 93. So they're sending me over there. Well, she's at the bar.
Yeah.
And I'm there with 3 teenage boys. Wayne's like 18, Kenny's 16, Jamie's 13, 14. And you sending me over here, Gail's gone, and they throwing parties.
Yeah.
I'm talking, they would get those things when you walk into the when you would walk into the convenience store. Remember them little circle roll things that they would put drinks in? You just lift up. They would take that. They would spend all day cutting up watermelon, cantaloupe, all this fruit, pour it in there, and just pour 5 or 6 bottles of Everclear. And they called it PJ. That's what they would call it, PJ.
Yes, sir.
And this is where I'm at on the weekends now. And, I mean, dude, I'm watching my cousins fight.
Yeah.
I'm watching them kick a kid's ribs in because they stole little Randy's shoes, and they done caught him out back and beat the brakes off of him in the bushes.
Yeah.
And, like, look, now I'm starting to find something that I can tell people I'm a part of that makes me feel like somebody.
Yep.
Oh, let me tell you what my cousins did.
Yep.
Yeah, mess with me.
Yep. Started to get them instincts.
I seen Wayne hit a kid one time in the driver's seat, and blood slam on the
windshield.
No, not the windshield, but the passenger's window. I mean, clack.
Yeah.
You know?
Got rocked.
And so, you know, at the age of 10, 11, and 12, like, I'm introduced to pornography because, you know, there's, you know, videos, there's magazines, and I'm finding these things, and, you know, it's starting to expose me to things that I have nothing to do about.
Yeah.
Like, you want to tear a kid's life up, let him be sexualized at a young age. Like, dude, I remember, this is a true story. I remember being 12 years old over there. My cousin Randy was probably, I'd say at this juncture, he had to be 16 or 17 because he was 3 or 4 years older than me. And I had a girlfriend. I was 12. I'd met her at the skating rink. Well, he liked her friend, or somehow they got in touch with her friend. Well, anyway, that night little Randy had a little lowrider truck, and they go pick him up and sneak him out and bring them back to Gale's. Now, I'm at Gale's.
Yeah.
My parents are doing whatever, but I'm supposed to be safe and protected.
Yeah.
This is why I say to this day, I'm very careful who I let my son spend the night with.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Because ain't nobody going to love your kids like you do.
Yeah.
And though these people that I love dearly would go to bat for, I'm just telling you, dude, when it comes to your kids,
You don't know.
You don't know
Nah,
who
you
you
don't.
letting them stay with.
You don't.
And so that night, literally, bro, and I say this transparently and uncensored because it is something that truly shaped me in a way that that would bring a truckload of pain.
Yeah.
That night, there's a gallon of gin in the middle of the floor. Randy's on the other side of the room.
Yeah.
I'm on this side of the room. I'm 12 with my girlfriend. Watching Menace to Society.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
You know, like, Hurry Up and Buy.
You know the one I remember?
Oh, Dog.
Yeah. Lope Dog.
No, it ain't Lope Dog.
So the one that
Kane.
the one that I remember is Don't Be a Menace. While
No. This is Menace to Society. At the beginning of it, they walk in to buy an Old English 800, 8 balls, what they used to call it. And the guy's like, hurry up and buy it. And then he says, I'm sorry, I feel sorry for your mother. And dude just shoots him in the head. This is what we're watching.
Yeah.
So I can vividly remember being scared to kiss my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Never touched her, never kissed her. That insecure.
Yeah.
But I watched Randy sleep with the girl across from the bed across from me.
Yeah.
12 years old. Scared to death to do it, watching it, liquor on the floor, watching Menace to Society, 12 years old.
Shaping.
Mm-hmm. So no wonder at one of the parties, I would take the champagne, I'd walk around with it in my hand because I didn't want to feel apart from, but I was too scared to drink it. So I would pour it out but walk around like I was drunk.
Yeah. The disconnect. Yeah, bro.
I mean, it's just like I want to fit in,
but
because of the disciplinary my mother was, at that juncture, I was too scared to face her wrath to do it.
Yeah, if she found out.
That's why I think whipping works for a while.
Yeah.
Come on, somebody. I'm preaching real good. Whippings work for a while until you finally get to a place where the relief from the alcohol is far greater than the consequences of the behavior.
For sure.
Eventually, you're willing to take all the wrath that you can have to be okay in your own skin.
Yeah, it didn't matter.
You know? And so I share these moments of my life because that's one moment that happened many times in many different facets.
Yeah.
And these are the things that I wasn't protected from. You know, and obviously I would change nothing because it's allowed me to be in a place to help people. Most people can't help.
Yeah.
But it is the thing that began to expose me to things that I just did not need to be exposed to, you know?
Yeah.
And so at the age of, you know, here's the truth, CJ. I lost my virginity before I ever drank or used.
Young.
13.
Yeah. Young.
So I'm having sex before I ever smoke a joint, before I ever drink alcohol.
Yeah.
So my first love was not drugs and alcohol. My first way of being comfortable in my own skin was using relationships and sex to make me feel like somebody. Can I just tell you the greatest lie I believe is who I could smash makes me a man?
Yeah.
No, who I smashed and the many girls whatever happened in that juncture only showed how insecure I was.
That's right.
And so really drugs and alcohol isn't where my story began a rebellion. It's that I was exposed to pornography at an early age that really opened my life up to feeling like these were the avenues through which I would be loved.
Yeah. But here's the thing, just like alcohol and drugs, is that it works.
Yeah, but think about it.
Right?
13, CJ.
Yeah.
My son is about to be 13 years old.
I know.
And here's the truth. He has never 1 second seen or been in environments to where he would be introduced to that. My son is the age I was when I had sex for the first time, bro. Like, come on.
Yep.
Right? Like, I can't change what I did, but Lord knows that I could do something differently so that my son don't have to experience the pain that I did. And I can't say that that'll keep him from doing it, but at least I can use what I have regret and sometimes guilty and shameful for to potentially keep him from making the same mistakes.
That's it, bro. But my story is very similar, man. Like, I think I was young, dude. Probably not even for this podcast, but like I wasn't even 10.
Yeah.
You know, when those things started to happen. So, yeah, I'm with you 100%, man.
So, you know, by the time I find alcohol, like I remember the first time I ever drank alcohol, I drank a shot of Everclear.
God, that's disgusting. That's tough.
You know how bad that burns?
That's tough.
But here's what I remember.
Take a shot of lighter fluid.
Here's what I remember from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet was this warm feeling
Just a hug.
that I thought to myself, how can I feel like this all the time?
Yep.
Right? It makes you want to be, you can talk more, you're not scared. All these things that I struggle with when I drank that alcohol went away.
Yep.
You know, and I was young too. I was 13. I lost Virginia 30. So I broke up with that girl because I got to hanging out with some guys in high school that were in a punk rock band.
Yeah.
Do we need to talk about this?
We can.
Huh?
Yeah.
So I go through middle school. I'm overweight.
Yeah.
I got acne. Dude, I mean, If it wasn't for alcohol, I'd have killed myself. Can I say that? I truly believe drugs and alcohol kept me from being a teenage suicide.
Yeah.
Like, I'm dead serious. In the environment I grew up in the place I didn't have anywhere to express the trauma and what I was. If I wouldn't have found alcohol, dude, I would have been in a load of trouble. Not that I want people to find alcohol. Not that I want them to get high and drunk. I don't. I want to provide more outlets for kids to be able to deal with trauma in a healthy way.
Yeah.
But I'm saying from my story, I truly believe that alcohol and drugs kept me from being a teenage suicide. Yeah. And so when I got into high school, I was overweight a little bit more, still felt like a turd in a punch bowl. And so I'm dating this girl from church, and it's just like I'm starting to not like this church thing. Parents just drug me to church. But you got to imagine, like, dad's a deacon. He's been selling weed. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, mom's drinking on the weekends, but we praising the Lord.
Yeah.
She's worried about what I'm wearing. Blah, blah, blah. I'm just, by this time, man, I'm thinking, I'm done with this. Yeah. I don't really like this girl no more because I've started hanging out with these guys and, you know, they smoking Camel filters and, you know, we doing things. And dude, I'm used to this. This is familiar territory for me. So I sort of, about the age of 14, just walk away from church and start doing this deal with my newfound friends, my punk rockers. Yeah. And we started a band.
Yeah. What was the name of the
freshman.
band? What was the name of the band?
PHS Penitentiary. So PHS stood for Pendleton High School, which was the high school that we went to. And so we called it PHS Penitentiary. And did you know that one year they let us play at the talent show and they let us play on the football field before a football game, and we were called PHS Penitentiary? Do you think they were that naive?
Hold on. Maybe they were just trying to give you opportunity to express yourself.
Well, here's the truth, man. We were good.
Yeah.
I had some great musicians, and we would drink.
Yeah.
After school, smoke weed.
Yeah.
And make music.
What I hear in your story that is different between me and you until you become an adult and you find that outlet for yourself is the big difference that I hear is that you found acceptance in girls. You found obviously acceptance in the drinking and obviously the drugging as it comes. But you found acceptance in the companionship of having a band. But you didn't? Did you really play sports at all?
Oh yeah. So here's the thing, dude. I was an outstanding athlete.
Yeah.
Baseball was the thing I played the most, but I played basketball and football.
Yeah.
Played football for Pendleton Middle School, C team. I didn't really care for football once I put the pads on.
Yeah.
Wasn't really my thing.
Yeah.
I loved baseball.
Yeah.
I excelled in baseball. I was the best baseball player on every team I played on. And I played baseball my freshman year in high school. The same year I started hanging out with these boys.
Yeah.
Well, it started getting in the way of...
That's what I don't know if I've ever even asked you that. Like, apart from the podcast.
Well,
like,
it started getting in the way of me going after school to play in this band, hang out with my buddies, smoke weed. Yeah. So I make it through the first year of baseball. I go back out the next year. I haven't even played since then. I get cut.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
In my 10th grade year.
You got Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'd have cared anything about it, if I'd have had some discipline in my weight, I could have been great. Yeah. But at this juncture... baseball wasn't necessarily the goal. It was whatever I could use to be okay. Mm-hmm. And so once I got fully drenched in this, these friends and this new direction, I started finding identity in it. And so the baseball thing just didn't matter no more. Even though it hurt, and even though I didn't really talk about how it made me feel, like there was no reason or way for me to justify it because I didn't practice. I didn't do anything, right? It was just one of those things where I wanted to succeed without any effort just for the outcome, right? Yeah. And so once that got out of my life, like I really had to dive into this new identity. Yeah. Like we're punk rockers. Yeah. You know, we smoke weed. We don't give a crap about any, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Just, this is where my life started to become very, it was pretty much what it is. Yeah. And that's where it started to become towards my parents. Yeah. Up until high school, man, my parents could control me. Yeah. But somewhere along the lines, I turned a corner. Yeah. And I got out of control. Yeah. And here's what happened. Instead of calling the law on me, instead of trying to find a way to fix the root of the trouble, my parents figured if they couldn't fix me, just do it with me.
Yeah.
Right? And so I remember one night coming home, I'd been out with the buddies doing the partying thing, band thing, come home high as a kite, son. And my dad knows because I didn't mention this, but my dad sold marijuana his whole life.
Yeah.
He eventually sold other substances, but weed was something very common in my household. And so he's seeing his teenage boy come home, and he knows I'm tore slam up. Well, here's why he has to confront me, because he has some pills hidden, and I'm at a juncture now where I'm just looking through the house because I'm getting curious.
Yeah.
Well, one night I find like 4 Ziploc bags full of white pills. I don't really know what they are. We don't have an iPhone. I can't Google white pill, oval, da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
So I just take a handful of each one, take them to my buddies in Central, crush them up and snort them.
Found out.
Well, he had to confront me because the pills had already been sold. And so he had to take the money back to the people because he had already got the money.
Yeah.
Well, this is when he starts opening the conversation up to, like, I know you've been smoking weed, right? And I never I don't know if I ever did afterward, but I never told him I was the culprit of stealing the pills.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I remember one day he sat me. Now, this is a true story, CJ. I don't know if I ever told you this. Remember one day I came in and I went to walk in the kitchen. You know where my mom is. Imagine going under the carport up into the kitchen. I start to come up to the kitchen. He puts his hand in my chest. And my mom, you know that chair there, she sits there.
Yep.
He said, sit right here. He pulled his cap off, opened up the lip of the cap, and pulled off a joint about as big as your thumb. He said, you think you know anything about this stuff? He said, sit right here and smoke this. If you don't throw up, we'll talk.
Yeah.
Well, I've been smoking dirty swag weed.
Yeah.
And I'm not at a juncture where I am so dependent on it that I'll go buy it. I'll just throw in a couple bucks, but I'd just rather hang with people that's got it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
You ain't never faced no L.
No. Like, I'm not going and being like, man, I need a half ounce. Like I'm hanging out with the boys that are a little older. They got it, so I'm smoking it. But when he puts me down, I'm thinking in my head, who you think you, what you think? Man, I'll smoke this whole thing.
Yeah.
4 hours, I ain't moved. Turn white as a ghost. Nauseous. I just stuck to the seat. And that was the time that he started to try to teach me how to sell drugs. And I think I know that sounds horrible.
If you can't beat them, join them.
Well, I just think that looking back, man, to the arrogant mind or the people that are better than that, like, they don't get it.
No.
I think what he thought was, I don't know what he thought.
Yeah.
But it was well-meaning.
Yeah.
How do I keep my son off the streets?
Yeah.
Or how can I provide a service for him that doesn't make him go there to get it, that will keep him here to get it?
Yeah.
Because he started seeing the
narrative.
disconnect between me and him, or I'm hanging out with my buddies getting high. And so when your insecure father wants you to be a buddy and you won't come home because you're starting to get out of control, I think in his mind he thought if I knew he was the guy, that I wouldn't go nowhere. So he gives me an ounce of pot, says, hey, learn how to make money. You want me to tell you when my dad realized I wouldn't like him? When I smoked that whole ounce that night.
Smoked that.
And I came back and just
it.
acted like it didn't even, where's my money? What you mean? That's our stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, he knew then.
Yeah.
That this ain't going to work. You know what I'm saying? This ain't going to work.
He's like, bruh. Just controlling the narrative, though.
You know? But it also gave me an identity now that over a while I show up and I got the best weed in the place.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And here I am breaking the whole thing down, smoking it with people who don't even like me.
Yeah.
Just because I want to be, just for that moment, the guy. And my daddy wants the money, and I'm over here wanting the prestige. And I'm coming home broke, and he mad as hell.
Yeah. Isn't that funny how y'all two were wired differently like that? Like, he wasn't worried about prestige. He was worried about money.
Bro.
But then here you are, and what you're seeking after is the prestige, and you don't care about money. You know? Isn't that wild, man?
Yeah, no, that's wild, dude. But, you know, the truth is, man, long story short, you know, that led me to selling weed.
Yeah.
A lot of times it was just to smoke it.
Yeah.
Eventually, I got introduced to lower tabs because when I was about 17, I had to get my wisdom teeth taken out.
Yeah.
And they gave me pain pills.
Yeah.
Watson.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was 503.
Yeah.
Now, that might have been the blue 10 Watsons. Anyway, 365, something like that. Little short, fat Watsons.
Mm-hmm.
And I milked that dentist for about 4 refills. And that thus began the journey of my love affair with opiates.
Yeah.
And so it's funny because at that time I started getting addicted to them. My sister had been addicted to them.
Yeah.
She'd been getting them from the doctors for years. And she has the same story as me. But the truth is eventually my dad sold the pain pills.
Yeah.
And eventually my behavior had gotten so destructive that my mom just couldn't live in the same house with me. And she gave my dad an ultimatum. Either get him out of our house or I'm leaving.
Yeah.
And this was at a time where, I was working at a little place, I was working at, there's so much to the story, and I'm just trying to briefly talk about it, but I worked at a little place here in Anderson, and my mom left my dad because my dad told her, it's my son, he's my only son, and literally after years of marriage, like my dad let me stay at home, and my mother moved out.
Like I know we always talk about this story in first person because we're the one experiencing it, but like as I'm listening to what you're saying, like imagine how your mom felt.
Oh, bro, like
like in that moment of her life.
Well, and dude, it was almost like I am picking my dad over you, Mom, and for a long time would use him against her because he had what I wanted.
Yeah.
It wasn't that I didn't love my mom. It was that I learned how my daddy was growing up, that I could use it to get what I wanted, and it didn't matter who it hurt.
Learned.
Yeah, so listen to this. So he is trying to help me with this addiction, man. Like from the age of 17 to 22, I spent at least one time in detox every year.
Yeah.
I met a girl in high school in 12th grade, ended up getting her pregnant, and then in a couple years got her pregnant again. So from the age of 17 to 22, just know that I've brought 2 kids in this world.
Yeah.
But I've got this terrifying drug habit, right? And so towards the end of my addiction, I'm living with my dad. My mom has left. And so he's trying to find a way to help me.
Yeah.
Because I'm at a point when I wake up dope sick, I don't got nothing. I'm sticking my fist through his walls.
Yeah.
I'm freaking cussing him out in his face, pushing him. Like, it's a nightmare.
He probably wondering, like, I made the wrong choice.
Yeah, no, he knew he did, right?
I should have kept.
But he's at a juncture to where he is literally putting 8 Lord Tab 10s on my nightstand every night before I go to bed. So when I wake up, I'll have pills. He picks me, he takes me to work. He picks me up, and then on Fridays, he comes and picks me up, and I sign my check over to him. And this is his way of trying to keep me alive.
Yeah.
Until eventually on Fridays when he picked me up, I wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
And then he would come to these dope houses and come through the front door looking for me. And people showing up to my house looking for me, pushing him down. And just know that in this juncture, my dad's been diagnosed with emphysema, and he's really sick.
Yeah.
And he has to wear oxygen every day. And so I've even at junctures where he had gotten really sick, I've army crawled in and stole all his money. And he'd be rushed to the hospital the next day and have to have pints of fluid, like drained off his lungs, or he's going to die.
Yeah.
And so I'm army crawling in here doing these things, man, and I'm off the chain. Like I'm out the window, still in his car, gone for 3 days. Mom ain't there. He has no way to get food, and I'm not even calling home. I don't even care.
Yeah.
I'm out in 6 Mile somewhere trying to find some.
And there ain't no cell phones. Like
no.
Is there cell phones at this time? Like. Because
I mean, I don't have one. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not sure if there was a flip phone, but once I got out that window and got in that car and gone, you ain't seeing me until I'm tapped out.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And so this is what my life had become to.
So how many years was it just you and your dad in that house? Like, I've never really, I don't think I asked you.
It was at least from 2003-ish to 2005.
So a couple years, it's just you
yeah.
and Pops, and you're just going ham.
Oh, yeah.
Doing what you want. But did you graduate high school?
I did.
Okay, you graduated.
Thankful to Adderall.
Yeah, yeah.
I would snort like that. That was the first thing in high school. I went through a season where a buddy of mine gave me a blue 10 milligram for a bud.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was. I took it. My life changed.
Yeah.
And so for that whole year, man, I snorted Adderall. I lost 60 pounds. Thought I'd ride, bro.
Yeah.
Looking good, you know. And that's when I met that girl, and we ended up getting together. And like, man, I just think this is probably gonna have to be another episode.
Oh, we're gonna have to probably do several, which is as long as it's cool with John, baby.
Yeah. Because I mean, if we're gonna really do this and have this thing down for years to come, like,
I don't want to rush it.
Well, I'm feeling like I'm having to a little bit, but the more you ask questions, the more I realize some of the details
that we don't ever talk about.
From 2001 to 2005, we never talk about that we probably need to talk about.
Yeah. Well, I think this is. Are we good? Yeah. I think this is a good stopping point, and I think this is wonderful for us to be able to pull back the curtain. Because here's the truth, man. Like, and I know you know this, but over 19 years of selflessly serving other alcoholics and drug addicts, you've come across thousands of people. You've inspired thousands of people. You've offered hope and motivated thousands of people to pick up their mat and walk. Some have, some haven't. But at the end of the day, like, a lot of those people don't really know who you are. They know your gift. They know what God's given you the ability to do and what he's graced you to do, but they just don't know you. And I think this is a wonderful and anointed moment in these next few episodes to give us the opportunity to, not just let me know what it is about you, but maybe let, these people you've helped all these years know a little more about you. So, until next time.
Yeah.
Peace.